Poetry Out Loud is a national program sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts. And every state and territory of the US has a program going on. They have a coordinator like me in each state. It's part of our partnership agreement with the National Endowment for the Arts. So as you know, it's for a high school student program. It's about recitation. It's a word you don't use very often, but it's about reciting the poem on stage. So it mixes together kind of stage presence, public speaking, and the understanding and comprehension of poetry. So it's all those things wrapped up into one. Sometimes we have theater teachers who take on the program. Sometimes we have English teachers do it. And sometimes it's someone totally different who's like a school community counselor or something that organizes this and does an enrichment for the students. So Poetry Out Loud was created, like I was saying, that it involves self-confidence in public speaking, is to get to know poetry better. Both contemporary and classic are in the anthology. And through that, kind of get to know literary history. The NEA did some really interesting research just last year. I don't even think they've really published it publicly yet, but they did show some really amazing outcomes for students in the Poetry Out Loud program. I will share out that research, the links to those research after this webinar. It's pretty exciting things, but it does impact academic performance and self-confidence and their connection to language arts and poetry. The schools obviously benefit. This is a nice culture and climate support program for a school. Like, for example, the school in Forest Park, they do the Poetry Out Loud program in all their English language arts classrooms at the high school level. And then they come together as a school, and one student from each classroom competes in the school competition. And so it's a part of their community culture now that they're at their school. Poetry Out Loud gets pretty good press coverage. This is one of the things, and the PR toolkit or the media kit or whatever support you need when it comes to connecting with local media. The NEA has created a lot of tools for you. So we've got a lot of supports for that. And this is just telling you about all the places and all the different states across. Oh, where's my list of the states? Let me go back. Where did that go? Here we go. Here's my little speech. Since 2005, Poetry Out Loud has grown to reach more than 4 million students, 68,000 teachers from 17,000 schools and organizations in every state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, Guam, and the American Samoa. I like that little tidbit. Here it is. The way this works is that we have local contests. That could be a single group, a single classroom, or an after-school club. As long as you have 2 or more students, you have a local contest that you can do. Some schools, again, because of their size or the number of students participating, break it up into multi-tiers within their local contest. But really, you only need 1 local contest to do a Poetry Out Loud program. We have a couple community partners, a few nonprofits in different parts of the state that are also doing local contests for students whose schools are not participating. So we have a theater in the Terre Haute area that is hosting local students. We have the Wells County Arts Council up in Wells County, which is kind of northeastern Indiana. And we have the Indiana Writer Center, which is a statewide nonprofit, and they will take any student across the state who's an independent student whose school isn't participating into their virtual program. So those are all also available to students anywhere in the state of Indiana. Some states have regional contests. We do not in Indiana. So we skip the regional contest, and your local student winner comes straight to me at the state contest. and I will organize a state contest. I will get judges from all across the state, poets. We usually have our poet laureate of our state as a judge in our competition. We pull people from the universities and libraries and all kinds of literacy professionals. Sometimes the Department of Education participates. We'll do a state contest. So then our state winner goes on to the national competition in Washington, D.C. When the competition's in person, they get their flight paid for and their stay out in Washington, D.C. with one chaperone covered for the national competition. So there's prizes at every level here. There's some funds for state finalists and the state runner-up. So first and second place. The schools of the winning students also get stipends to add poetry books to their library. And for the national finals, there's some really big scholarship money for students. All of the top 10 finalists get some amount of money, $1,000 up to $20,000. So teachers, this is talking about things you get, but I think this is just a really great way to meet your curriculum standards in the English language arts, especially the poetry areas, but really a lot of things. I know teachers who have public speaking curriculum that they're teaching. And like I said, theater, that's part of this too. So you're going to meet the standards you need to meet if you do this program in your classroom. And we support you with things like a teacher toolkit, all the how-tos of it, with a poster inside of it to hang up and tell students about the program. We've got a huge website with resources, this online anthology, which is kind of amazing. The Poetry Foundation is based in Chicago. The Poetry Foundation manages this anthology with thousands of poems. They contact each poet or their publisher, make sure they have permission to use these poems in the program, and they manage all of that legal side of it so that we can use these poems, which also answers the question I get a lot. Why do we have to use the poems in the anthology? Why not just pick one out of any old book and recite it? I get that question. I understand where that's coming from for sure, but there is a lot of legal issues around poets and poetry and all arts. So luckily we have the Poetry Foundation who's helping us with that stuff. So we have the online anthology where the student poems must come from that anthology. Any questions about that, please just reach out to me. We also have the NEA has provided a very rich YouTube channel of examples of every type of criteria that the students will be measured on. So please check out those video resources and share them with your students. There are example lesson plans on the NEA website, and we've linked some of those on our own website. There are, they spell out the standards and any resource you're looking for, I'm sure they've created it already. So timeline, I had a question about the timeline. School competitions can take place anytime now. The anthology was finalized a week or two ago. So anytime now to early January. I'm sure we have a date on the website, Connie. The sooner the better in my mind, because once you get into holiday breaks and poor winter weather, and as we were talking about earlier, we don't know what colder weather will bring for us with online learning and in-person school. So anytime you can do the school competition now. I think if you follow the toolkit guidance, it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks. You start to introduce the criteria of the Poetry Out Loud program, like stage presence and understanding the poem and comprehension. There's these little mini lessons about guiding the students to be the best at reciting that they can be, how to pick a poem. That takes a couple weeks, giving the students time to memorize. Maybe you go through some memorization techniques with them. Maybe you have a couple meetings or lessons about that. So, plan, I don't know, 4, 6, 8 sessions where you're unpacking all that stuff with them. Then you hold your competition. And then you email me and you let me know who your school winner is. And I will invite them to the state finals. It's really, a lot of this is in your hands to decide how you do this with your students. If this is something where your students are advanced students, you got some AP English class, they only need 2 or 3 sessions to really understand all the criteria and how to do this. Maybe it only takes a couple sessions. Maybe it's something where you really do want to unpack it over 8 or 9 weeks. It's totally up to you how you integrate the Poetry Out Loud program with your students' needs and your needs as a teacher. So like I said, on the website, tons of tools and resources. There's just another list of those. Now, when you get to the anthology, there's a few different ways to browse poems. There's some topic areas you can sort by, like I want poems about spring or weather or love or something like that. There's some content sorting you can do. There's also alphabetical sorting by poems, or you could just type a keyword and it'll bring up a bunch of poems with that keyword. I have a student who loves baseball. I'm going to try and find him 5 poems about baseball he might be interested in. More about the YouTube channel. Keep this. That's what I'm doing. Recruiting schools, that's what I'm doing right now. Check. And accessibility. If you have students with disabilities, I also happen to be the accessibility coordinator for the State Arts Agency. So I'm happy to help you with accommodations. I'm in contact with lots of other states that have done accommodations for students who are deaf, students with learning disabilities. We can talk about accommodations. They even have a Braille anthology. If we request it from the NEA, they can ship us one, but it is pretty hefty. So let me know in advance. It gets mailed. What else? Oh, these are some great student testimonials. As I recited my poems, I accidentally stumbled upon hidden interpretations that connected to me personally. The teachers who really spend time getting to know this program ultimately come out on the other side of this program so excited about it. I know that it's kind of a commitment to get started into it, but I promise that it's a great program that will ultimately have great outcomes for your students in your classroom. I think we're at the end. Okay. Let's stop sharing my screen. So that's the basics. I'll just reiterate that we give a lot of flexibility to this. There are a few rules. You got to have more than one student. You can't just send one delegate from your school without having had a competition at your school. But yeah, as long as you have 2 or more students and you have a competition, then you can send a student to the state competition. That's a rule. Otherwise, there's a lot of flexibility here for you. Now, what about virtual? We are open to virtual competitions this year. We are flexible. You can do in person, you can do virtual. We're not dictating one or the other. I have decided that our state competition will be virtual. The way that that's going to happen, last year, when we were all in the, oh my gosh, what's happening phase of the pandemic, we had all the students at the state finals pre-record 3 videos, 3 recitations, and they submitted it to me through Flipgrid. I don't know if you use that at your school, but it's a video upload kind of service. This year, after some feedback with some teachers and some other people I've been talking to, I think we're going to do 2 pre-recorded videos they'll submit to the state competition. And then the third round will be kind of a live Zoom event. There's a few reasons for that. Having a live event, there's something about Poetry Out Loud with stage presence and other things that you can't get from a pre-recorded video. A student, we like the accessibility that a student can go into their bedroom, close the door and record themselves alone in their room and get it just right. That's great. But it does lose that element of you've got one shot, you get up on stage, you battle your nerves and you do your recitation in front of an audience. So the third round of the Indiana Poetry Out Loud competition is probably going to be a live Zoom video thing. We are absolutely here to support any technology needs that the student has. We are going to figure out how to make it possible for students to do live Zoom, because I know some parts of the state, it's spotty internet, or, you know, they only have their cell phone and the quality of the camera is not great, or the audio. So we're gonna work with each student, see if they need to have a microphone provided to them or a MiFi or something like that loaned out. So we will work on the technology aspect for sure. What else? We have a Poetry Ourselves program, which is a supplemental program that the NEA started a few years ago, and we've just mimicked it here in Indiana. Our program's not connected to their program, but it's for original poetry that the students write. So students can submit poems to a competition of original student written poetry. A few other new things in the last year that I've implemented. Students who make it to the state competition will receive free coaching from our professional poet, Devin Ginn. He's a professional spoken word artist. He's been a judge at Poetry Out Loud before, and he was a Poetry Out Loud student many years ago. So you'll get, the students in the state competition will receive free online coaching, one-on-one. What else? Oh, we have we're doing awards created by local artists in Indiana. Trying to think of what else, but I think that's the basics. Let me take some questions now.
I think I'm okay. I appreciate all the information.
Yeah.
So with the students who participate in Poetry Ourselves, they don't have to also be participating in Poetry Out Loud, right? That can
Yes.
be, okay. Because it used to be that they had to be in the Poetry Out Loud competition as well, right?
Yes.
I didn't know if I had made that up or if that was true. Okay. So now it doesn't matter. They can just.
We made that change last year. We decided that those are two different skill sets: Poetry Out Loud, Poetry Ourselves, writing poetry, reciting poetry. And so we opened it up that it doesn't have to be Poetry Out Loud. It was the Poetry Out Loud winner from your school was the only one that was eligible. And so now any student in the state of Indiana can submit to Poetry Ourselves. That we really threw the doors open on that. We went from 6 to 46 students in 1 year's time, because we just went, hey, any student can submit. So
Is the timeline for the submissions the same as for Poetry Out Loud?
yes,
Okay.
They might be like a week or so different. Connie, can you help me with the dates? I didn't pull up the website because I was sharing my screen.
I left my screen before I was muted. But pulling that up now, the deadline to have your state or your school's winner to the state competition, the name and the first initial videos is February 17th. The deadline to sign up is November 19th. So between November 19th or before and February 17th is when the school competitions have to take place.
Okay, so signing up, I get this question sometimes, is just submitting your name to me as a school. I think you both have done that already. You just say, hey, we want to participate in Poetry Out Loud. I just have to track that between now and the end of November. If you sign up, then you get extra emails from me. So there you go. But then your school competition has to take place by the end of January, early February, because you need a few weeks for your student to prepare their videos for state finals. So I would recommend getting your school competition done in January so that then they have 2 weeks to submit February 17th. I think that's what you said, Connie, to the state finals competition, because that's when the videos are due. And then they'll submit the videos. I will take all the videos and I will put them in front of the judges. It's going to be a private judging because we're doing this online Zoom thing. So we'll judge it. And then the third round, that live round, will happen March 9th. And so we'll combine all the scores from the previous judging and the third round judging on that day, March 9th. That's my intention, to have the winner announced by the end of that competition on March 9th. The National Poetry Out Loud has picked a date for an in-person national competition in April. I don't know if they're going to change it or not. Last year, they changed it to virtual and then they had to push it back till May. And they did a split 2 different days of competition for virtual competition for national.
Stephanie, I know information is probably in the packet, but how many judges are required for the local school competition?
That's a good question. I want to say 3.
Okay.
It is in the packet for sure.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
The packet has a lot of information specifically about how to do a competition, when to recruit judges, how to recruit judges, how to train judges if you need to. There's videos online about how the judges, basically the videos will do the training of the judges. You could just send them the video. Or there's a
That
website.
makes it nice.
Yeah, there's a packet just for judges if they rather read a packet. How to understand the criteria as a judge and what you're looking for. They also, I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure on the website, they even have a downloadable Excel sheet that you can use and plug in the scores from the judges and it'll tally everything automatically. They've got some formulas built in. That's on the Poetry Out Loud National website.
Great, thank you.
It's a good question. So what it looks like when you're setting up your very first program, you recruit your students. Either you tell them that they have to do it next week as part of their class, or you recruit them in an after-school program of some kind. You look over the criteria with them, pick out poems, and then you set the date for your school competition so that they can prepare for that. And then you're getting judges, you're making sure you have a location to do the competition. If you need to get a microphone and speaker system, start setting that up. And just keep checking in with the students as they memorize their poems. Maybe they do a few practice sessions. I don't know, Sarah, you have any more tips about how to run a program?
Oh, you pretty much covered it. I mean, I usually just try to recruit students because I don't do this as part of my class. I mostly teach 8th grade and those kids can't participate in this. I have some high school classes, but it's hard to really get the word out with just those classes. So I put on announcements and have a call out meeting for students interested, and I give them the dates. So I usually, like that first slide you went through, I usually go through something similar with them so they know what the competition's about. I often get a lot of like theater kids and kids who are interested and who obviously like poetry. And yeah, we meet and I show them some of the videos of the other students reciting poetry. And, I just check in with them. I usually start meeting with them in October, and we have our competition in December, and we have our competition in the library, and we set it up to look really nice, and we have refreshments, and I get the judges a little thank you gift, and I usually give the kids who participated some sort of like prize for participating, and then but I don't have a really large group of students who compete. Now, if I were at a bigger school, I would need some help like preparing all of that. But since it's a small group, I can do some of those fun things. But yeah, I really use that website, Poetry Out Loud website, quite a bit. It's very helpful, and it ends up being fun. Like the kids really enjoy it, and I enjoy doing it. So, and it's great doing it around Christmas time, because it kind of, I don't know, it's just a nice time into the semester to do the competition. So it's worth it. I think it's very worth it.
You just reminded me of one other thing we did last year with the virtual competition. I thought, man, if we're gonna do this all virtual, and it was all pre-recorded, I wanted people to tune into it. And so I offered up what I called watch party funds. So that the teachers of the students who are participating in the state competition got $100. I'm gonna do this again this year, $100 to do watch parties. And if they were in person, which almost nobody was at that point last year, they could get pizzas and have a little party and put it on the big screen when we streamed the live state finals video. Or what they ended up doing, because many of them were not in person, put little packages together with little candy or popcorn or something, and just said, don't forget to watch the Poetry Out Loud state finals, and sent them home with students that were interested in the program, so they remember to log in and cheer on their friends. Not even just the competitor, but other students at the school could cheer on their friends. So we'll be doing that again this year with our virtual finals.
That'll be neat. I try to get students in the school to attend our competition just so they can see their peers doing this awesome thing that takes a lot of time and effort and courage.
Yes.
So, but usually the week leading up to our competition, every morning on the announcements, we'll have an excerpt of a poem or something just to kind of, get the kids interested in going to the competition. So it's fun. It's really, really fun. So I think anything like that to get, any sort of like watch parties or even little like prize packets or something, that kind of stuff gets kids interested, I think.
Great tips.
Thank you.
There's also, a good variety of poems on the anthology. If you're teaching a unit on haiku, if you're teaching a unit on sonnets, there's a lot of sonnets in there. You can find in the anthology poems related to those I know commonly taught areas. Even if it's not the ones the students memorize, you can use it as a sample or an example. And you know what? Maybe use the anthology other times. It's not Poetry Out Loud. It's a good resource of great poems. Something else that crossed my mind to share with you all. Oh, I did not share in my overview, it wasn't in the presentation, that there are some rules. This is another actual rule about the types of poems. You have to have one poem that's pre-20th century. So the students have 3 poems they have to memorize. One of the 3 has to be pre-20th century, especially when we're virtual streaming on YouTube. Being in the public domain, being pre-20th century is really helpful. But I think it's a way to, get kids connected with classic poetry. And then another one is that another poem has to be 25 lines or fewer. And one poem can meet both criteria. So those 2 criteria, of the 3 poems, those 2 criteria have to be met. And, if there's a pre-20th century poem, a classical poem that they don't really love, they can make it their 3rd poem. And if they don't advance to the 3rd round, they may not recite it. That's something I didn't cover in this presentation either. In a normal Poetry Out Loud year, non-virtual, Students recite the first 2 rounds of recitation, and then only half of the students advance to the 3rd and final round. In the virtual year, last year, all students made it to the 3rd round. We didn't have a big group. I think we had 12, and they all got judged on all 3 rounds, so that's fine. We might do that again this year. It really depends on the quantity, the number of students we have, and the capacity we have to judge all the videos. So we'll see what happens this year. Any other questions? And I'm open to, you know, suggestions and advice as we go along. May not have it right now, but you may send me an email later. That's fine. I think you both have my email. shaynes@iac.in.gov for the people watching this video. Connie, did I forget anything? She's been helping me a
I don't
lot.
believe so. Looking at the website, I think you covered all the main things, and all the resources she's mentioned today. We'll be sure to follow up with in an email as well as the recording of this meeting. But everything that she's mentioned is on the website. That link is in the chat.
Oh, here's another nice thing that we just put on the website. Thank you, Connie. She's my website keeper. We have 2 spotlight videos of the 2 winners last year. They're great. Show them to your students if you can. Lucia Walker from Bloomington is our Poetry Out Loud winner from last year. There's a spotlight video. It's like 3 minutes long, and it's about her and why she's involved in Poetry Out Loud and what she gets out of it. It's top-notch video quality. It's a gorgeous little video, and I think the kids will connect with it. The other one, Poetry Ourselves, you click over to the Poetry Ourselves tab, and there's another video of our Poetry Ourselves winner, Jaden Baskin from Pike High School here in Indy, and he recites some of his original poem, and it's another gorgeous video. I encourage you to check those out and share them with your students. Okay, that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully things go a little better this year and we have more students participate.
Yeah.
So,
well, I am, you know, just an email away. If you guys need anything, reach out.
okay, thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.